Hi and welcome to another car project. In this video I'll be changing the spark plugs on our Nissan Tiida. It's also known as a Nissan Versa in some markets, or you might pronounce it Nissan depending where you come from. The process should be similar for the Nissan Latio and the Nissan Note since they're built on the same C11 platform. The process should be the same for Nissan Versas between the years 2004 to 2012. Now, we bought this car with 164,000 kilometers on the clock, so it's due for a few maintenance items. I'll be doing more videos on this car in the future, so if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to see a particular video, if you have any questions, leave me a comment below and I'll get to it as soon as I can. So before we change them, what are the symptoms of old spark plugs? Well, you may have loss of power and acceleration, and you may have surging when you press down on the accelerator. You may have problems starting, especially in colder mornings. You may have an engine misfire which causes shaking and vibration. And you may have poor fuel economy. In this video I'll be covering parts removal, replacement and reassembly, and because we have to disconnect the battery, I'll talk you through some relearn procedures as well. So we will need to remove the intake plenum because the spark plugs are located underneath. To remove this, we'll need to remove the throttle body, the intake tubing and the coolant reservoir to get to the bolts down here. We will also need to replace the gasket on the plenum, and we'll need to replace the gaskets on the throttle body as well. Because we'll be working on electrical components, we first need to disconnect the negative terminal on the battery. This is a 10mm bolt. Next, we need to loosen the radiator cap. Make sure the engine is fully cold and it hasn't been on for at least 3 to 4 hours. Next, we'll be removing this intake duct. You've got two clips here. You can use a flathead screwdriver to pop them up. This is quite a clever design by the engineers, but unfortunately it makes maintenance a lot harder. So we just bought this car, but what's been your experience? Is it reliable and what's their transmission like? Let me know if we should keep it. This simply pops out. And you push the tab up and pull this out. And it looks like we have some good news. We have clear access to the plenum bolts, so we'll leave the coolant reservoir where it is for now. We'll need to remove the throttle body, and that's attached by 4 bolts, and it's clamped on to the intake hose. So we'll need to take the intake hose and the PCV hose off. And pull the clamp down and carefully pull the PCV hose off. And loosen the clamp. This is a 10mm bolt. And loosen the other side. And now the hose can be pulled off. And I'll spray the throttle body bolts with lubricant to help loosen them. And the bolts are 10mm. And the throttle body comes off. Now we'll need to disconnect the evap vacuum hose because that's attached to the plenum. This is a vacuum line and the line underneath is coolant. There's a bit of dried up fluid around this hose, so I'll just use this cloth just in case we do get a leak. And we'll pull the clamp down and carefully twist and pull the hose down. And yes, no fluid came out. And now I'm spraying lubricant on the plenum bolts. Now you unbolt from the outside to the center, and it's a 14mm bolt. We've got 2 bolts here holding the plenum to the backing plate. I'll spray this with lubricant. And they are 14mm bolts. Next we have one 14mm bolt attached to the engine block and a vacuum hose to remove. Now I'm attempting to pull the plenum out, but it seems to be stuck. It looks like we'll have to remove this air intake regulator. And the regulator is held in by a 10mm Allen key. And take it out. And now the plenum is off. And I'll cover up the intake channels to make sure we don't get any dirt going in. And I'll clean the surface with carburetor cleaner. To remove the coil wiring, you press down on the tabs and carefully pull the connectors out. Spray lubricant on the coil bolts. Now undo the bolts holding the coils in place. They are 12mm bolts. And now we can pull the coils out. My normal spark plug socket was too wide, so I got this thin profile socket instead. And I've stuck a piece of cloth inside to hold the spark plug in place. And there you go, it doesn't fall out. And the spark plugs require a 14mm socket. And here's a look at our first spark plug. The point is slightly worn, but it's not too bad. We've got a bit of carbon build-up, which is normal. The second one looks about the same. Looks good. And the last one's good. Looks like the engine is in good condition. The plugs I'll be using are NGKs. They are iridium. They are gapped to 0.043 of an inch, and the part number for those is 91187. And we'll compare the old plug to the new plug, and yes, they do look the same. The good thing about these plugs is they have rubber ribs on the ceramic, and that provides good insulation. We don't need to put any anti-seize on the thread because it comes pre-lubricated. These plugs come pre-gapped, but we'll double check the gap with this gapping tool. And the gap is correct. I'll put some dielectric grease on the end to prevent arcing. And I'll also put some on the coil boot to prevent moisture from getting in. Be careful when putting the plug in and try not to knock it. To avoid cross-threading, always start screwing it in by hand. The spark plugs have a crush washer, so do it till it's tight and do another quarter turn. I prefer to do this by feel, but if you have a torque wrench, torque it down to 13 foot-pounds. And I'll apply a bit of dielectric grease and put the coil back in. And clip the wiring back on. Screw the retaining bolts back on. Get them tight, but don't over tighten them. Get the old gasket off the plenum, and as you'll see, I've made a bit of a mistake. Now we'll clean up the mating surface with throttle body cleaner. And here's my mistake. I've ordered this gasket, but it's for the 1.8 litre Versa and my car is the 1.6 litre, so the gasket is a bit too big. But I'll put this on and we'll see how we go. If it doesn't work, I'll just use the old gasket. And here's the end result. It doesn't fit perfectly, but it's laying flat, so hopefully this should work. And make sure you clean this mating surface as well. And the throttle body gasket is also too big, so I'll just use the old one. And now we'll fit the plenum back on. We'll get the engine mounting bolts back on. And the vacuum hose in the back. And the backing plate bolts. And there's a particular sequence to get the bolts back in. You start from the inside and you work your way out. And the reason for this is because we want the gasket to stretch out, not in. And the torque peak for this is 20 foot-pounds. Now I've got the throttle body back on, and now we can put the 4 bolts back in. The torque spec for this is 6 foot-pounds. And now we can put this part of the intake hose back on. And tighten the clamps. Put the PCV hose back on. And clamp. The intake duct clips back on. Pop this in place. And put the 2 retaining clips back on. And reconnect the negative terminal on the battery. And screw the radiator cap back on. And start the car back up. The car should start with about 1500 RPM, and after 10 minutes it should drop down to about 700 RPM. If your idle RPM is more than 700 or less than 700, you may have a vacuum leak. You need to go back and see where the air might be leaking in from. But before you do anything, let's look at some relearn procedures you need to do because we've disconnected the battery. These are the steps for the accelerator pedal release position. These are the steps for the throttle valve closed position. And these are the steps for the idle air volume learning. And the steering angle sensor position only applies to the 2010 model. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and you've learnt something. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.